I decided to go to this little forest here. This evening was incredible. I never saw so many animals on one point. Hello, my name is Max. I'm a 14 years old wildlife and nature photographer. 3 weeks ago I was on a trip to an island, the island Rügen. In the last and this video I will show you the beauty of the island Rügen, amazing animal encounters and a lot more, so be excited and stay tuned. At the end of the last episode, I went to the chalk cliffs with my grandpa early in the morning. I was able to take wonderful pictures there and had an incredible animal encounter. If you haven't seen this first episode of my Rügen trip yet, be sure to check it out. But anyway, at noon on this third day, we went to the chalk cliffs again with the whole family. Not to the beach, but to a nature reserve there. We walked through a beautiful forest that led us to the top of the chalk cliffs. In this forest I took some creative pictures. I closed the aperture of my lens as much as I could, set the ISO to 100 and chose the slowest shutter speed as possible. Then I took a picture and meanwhile I turned my camera, zoomed out with the lens or did other things. That's how these pictures were taken. I also found a great spot of woodpecker cavity in a beech tree. It was quite dark in the forest, but I was still able to take a few pictures. When we arrived at the chalk cliffs, we had a wonderful view. You could see the white cliffs and the green forest. This, in contrast to the blue sea, was simply gigantic. But unfortunately, we were not the only people there. It was perhaps a bit crowded. So we walked back to the car and drove home. The next morning we went to beach to swim. I once got an underwater case for my phone as a gift and I wanted to try it out that day. These videos are the first underwater recordings I've ever taken. They are not perfect, but it is quite exciting to see how it looks underwater. But I didn't really trust this shell. I was quite afraid that it wouldn't be waterproof. After this little dip in the sea, I had enough of the beach and the water. There was a small nature reserve nearby, so I grabbed my camera and started walking. The path was really beautiful. There were wild roses everywhere and only a small stone wall separated me from the sea. At the end of the path, I climbed up to the wall and enjoyed this beautiful view. I just felt free. And yes, what should I say? I might have slipped a little when I went back. Afterwards I walked a little deeper into the nature reserve. Birds were chirping everywhere, but they just wouldn't show themselves. After a few minutes I suddenly heard something chirping from a tree. I found a great titnest. I lay in wait a few meters away and waited for the adult grey tit to come. And that didn't take long. However, I had a feeling that the birds felt disturbed by my presence, and so I walked on. When I was almost out of the forest, I suddenly saw a very special bird, a linnet. I had never seen this bird before. This encounter was really great. But I haven't been really successful yet. There was one thing I wanted to do from the first day we were on Rügen. There are countless hooded crows on this island. These birds are simply everywhere here, on the beach, in the city, or even in the park. In my region, this type of crow is very rare and I have never seen them. So I decided to take a few pictures of these beautiful animals. With this conclusion, we drove back to our house. In the evening, I wanted to explore our surroundings a bit more. I found a lake on a map and wanted to go there for sunset. I'm walking right now to a little lake, or actually it's no little lake, it's a bigger one, and yeah, I hoped that I can photograph there some water birds, some ducks, or some swans or something like that. I just want to check it out because on Friday we are driving back home and I just wanted to see that lake because I think it's a beautiful lake. I had to walk for about half an hour until I reached the lake. But unfortunately there were reeds all around the beautiful lake, so I couldn't get to the shore. I only saw one reed bunting singing happily in the reeds. There was also a great heron perched on a post, which I was able to photograph in the evening light. I had actually already finished with this evening and was just about to walk back to our house. But suddenly I saw something moving in a field. Okay, plan change, I found a deer. Check this out. I found a deer feeding undisturbed in a small field right next to a village. I tried to sneak a bit closer, and that worked quite well. But after about 5 minutes, it noticed something and took off. Even when we drove to Rügen, I kept seeing deer standing in the field. I really wanted to photograph them, but so far I haven't had a good opportunity to do so. So I decided to follow this plan, and I made a rather stupid decision. I walked into the middle of a field looking for deer. The only problem was that the grass got higher and higher, and at some point I couldn't see where I was running. Suddenly there were some strange water holes in the middle of the meadow, and I almost stepped into. I had no idea where I was going, and it was already getting dark. I wanted to look at the map on my mobile phone, but of course I had absolutely no reception either. I walked for at least 5 minutes through the head-high grass. That was definitely the worst 5 minutes of my life. Then I finally got out of the meadow, but that was not much better. Now I saw a field at least 2 kilometers long. Well, at least my mobile phone had reception again and I could see where I was running to. I walked and walked. I think the field I ran through was a soy field. Anyway, there were some birds sitting there. I think they were yellow wagtails. Of course, I couldn't resist taking a photo of them. As I walked for another 3 minutes, suddenly a roebuck jumped out of the field, a few meters in front of me. I had a shock of my life. This happened about 5 more times. I don't know why there are so many deer in northern Germany. When I finally saw the next dirt road, I suddenly saw a small pond in the middle of the soy field. And what I saw there, I couldn't believe my eyes. In the middle of the water were 2 grunts resisting there. That was incredible, and I will never forget that moment. Oh my god, guys, I did it. That was so freaking exhausting. I ran all the time. 3 kilometers. Oh my god. I'm on the end. Whew. But it was nice. I think I saw about 30 deers today evening. That was amazing, and oh my god. Then I finally made it, and I was out of the hell. I tell you guys, that was an adventure. It was already almost dark, and I quickly walked home. The next day was already the last day here on this beautiful island. We packed our suitcases because we had to leave as early as possible the next morning. At lunchtime we had an ice cream and went for a short walk by the sea. There I saw a mallard duck on a rock. When I looked twice, I saw 4 ducklings lying on the stone. They were lying close together to keep each other warm. These little animals were just so incredibly cute. I wanted to use this last evening for wildlife photography, so I set off the last time. I wanted to go to the same field as the day before. But then I suddenly saw a brown hare sitting in a meadow a few meters in front of me. It was an incredible feeling because I had never seen a brown hare in the wild before. But that was get even better that evening. So I walked on, and yes, maybe there were a few many mosquitoes. Okay, I have no idea if you can hear or see it, but here are millions of mosquitoes. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That's incredible. Why are here so many mosquitoes? When I came to another field, I could not believe my eyes, as I have done so many times on this trip. A whole pack of rabbits were hopping around there, and it was just an incredible feeling to watch these animals playing undisturbed. Once again, I had to fight my way through the grass that was far too tall to get a little closer to the animals. The little bit closer suddenly became very close. Guys, there's brown hair. Can you see it? There it is. That's so funny, because they're not shy. And on top of this hill, there's another brown hare. But it's so funny. It's just sitting in brown hair and eating. There, now you can see it really good. There it is. Guys, I can tell you that at this point I couldn't really believe it. I was honestly a bit overwhelmed and forgot to film some behind the scenes video for you. It is really difficult, almost impossible, to convey such a feeling in a video. I hope you can understand that, and I always give my best. I walked a bit further and sat down by a tree. I was able to take countless shots of the brown hair and decided to show them to you without my annoying talking in the background. Just sit back and enjoy nature for a little while. I must have sat by this tree for an hour, and so far it was the most beautiful moment in nature I ever had. This brown hare just ignored me and did what brown hare do. At some point, however, it started to get dark and I decided to make my way home. But when I got up, I suddenly saw a deer. It was standing in the middle of the field. I lay down on the ground and creeped closer. I guessed that the roebuck was still quite young, because at some point he had seen me. But he didn't run away. Instead, he rather came closer. The little one was quite curious. After a few minutes, however, he didn't like me so much anymore and ran away. So I really did walk back to our house one last time. I couldn't have imagined a better ending for this last evening. So I walked back to our house with some wonderful recordings on my memory card and gigantic moments captured in my head. Yeah guys, this evening, today, is the last evening here on Rügen. Tomorrow morning we are driving back home. And yeah, that was my last photo trip here and I'm so happy with the results. It was quite incredible and I actually can't believe it right now. I just realized what I saw when I look at the photos on my PC at home. But here, now we are driving, or not now, and tomorrow morning we're driving back home and yeah. I'm just amazed from this island here. So the next morning we went home again. But before that, of course, we had to fortify ourselves for the long car journey. We had a very tasty breakfast in a restaurant. But then we really went home. We drove for over 12 hours and arrived home sometime in the night. We were all pretty tired and were looking forward to our bed. This holiday was just amazing. I was able to take incredible pictures and videos of the sunrise, had wonderful encounters with animals and a great time with my grandparents, siblings and my cousin. Yes guys, this is not only the end of this trip to Rügen, this is also the end of this video. I hope you liked and enjoyed it. If you would like to support me a little, please subscribe and give the video a thumb up. Thank you so much. And if you haven't seen the first part of this episode yet, click here and check it out. Have a great week and stay healthy. See you out there.